What's up, everybody? Thanks as always for supporting the show. It would mean a lot to me if you would take a second to scroll down and hit that subscribe button to the Hoops Tonight YouTube channel, and then follow me on social media on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter so you guys don't miss any of our content over the course of this season. All right, let's talk some basketball. So Darius Garland breaks his jaw. He's going to be out for a while. Evan Mobley has had knee surgery. He's going to be out for probably at least 2 months. They're already in the 9 seed right now. The bottom can fall out here pretty quickly. And Donovan Mitchell is a guy that could be a free agent as soon as next summer. Not this coming summer, but the one after. He's got one guaranteed year left on a deal. He's got a player option for like $37 million after that. Probably going to drop out of that one and look to become a free agent. I've also talked consistently, when I talk Cavs, that the 2 small guard model is kind of doomed to fail. I also know that Cavs fans love Darius Garland. So to me, it points a lot of signs in the direction of what happens if Donovan Mitchell gets to the end of next season and just simply doesn't want to stay. He's worth too much to let go for nothing, right? In the short term, right now you're a 9 seed and 2 of your top 4 players are going to be out for a considerable amount of time here. Now, you could say, hey, Donovan, just do the best you can. Keep us as close to 500 as possible. And when all these guys come back, we'll fight our way up to a play-in spot so that we could go play Boston in the first round. So that we could go play Milwaukee in the first round and be gigantic underdogs and probably lose. So at a certain point, like, if you are under the impression, and again, this is up to Donovan. Because if Donovan's like, I want to stay, like let's figure out a deal, I want to stay, then you can make decisions accordingly. But it's worth approaching Donovan Mitchell and being like, hey man, like, are you going to stay? Because you're gonna be bad this year. Like, that's almost a certainty. This season, I don't want to say it's completely a lost cause, but like at this point for Cleveland, this season is in a really dark spot. So if there was a year to be bad, it'd be this year. And from that standpoint, that's where I see Donovan Mitchell as the obvious target for a trade around this deadline. Because when we envision the idealized version of the Cavs, what do I always talk about? I envision one of those guards and Evan Mobley at the 5 in the long run, next to a big athletic forward, preferably another big athletic forward, and then a perimeter defender at the 2 guard spot. That's kind of what I view as the idealized version of the Cavs. I talk a lot about this as like the ideal modern basketball build. You want a skill guard, then you want like a point of attack off-ball guard, then you want like a slender forward that can defend on the perimeter, then you want a big forward that can defend inside and help defense and defensive rebounding situations. Then you want an athletic center that can switch and run and drop coverage, while also being an offensive threat. Evan Mobley fits that mold. Darius Garland fits the skill guard mold. You know, like Max Strus in the short term, I think would be perfectly fine as a point of attack guy who plays off the ball at the 2. And like, I like Karis LeVert, but you probably don't want him as your starting 3. So it's that 3 and 4 spot that you're looking to bolster at this point, right? That's where you could potentially use Donovan Mitchell as the vehicle with which to shore that up and then be ready to make a run either, next season, essentially, right? And I think so now let's see, what type of teams would be interested in Donovan Mitchell? Teams that have size on the perimeter that can afford to bring in a small guard. Teams that can offer big athletic forwards to Cleveland, because that's what they would want, big athletic forwards that fit their timeline. And also that have the ability to put that size next to Donovan Mitchell so that they are not in a similar predicament that Cleveland was in, right? Then you're also looking at like what Donovan Mitchell's specific archetype is. He's a scoring guard. So we're looking at teams that need backcourt scoring. Now, the first 2 obvious ones are the power players, right? Miami and Philly. But Philly's got a ton of assets. They feel some urgency to try to get something done alongside Joel Embiid. Right now, they're clearly below Boston and Milwaukee. That's an obvious target, right? Philly could be like, we're going to put Donovan Mitchell next to Tyrese Maxey, and we're just going to have a shit ton of offensive skill next to Joel Embiid, right? The Miami piece is like, they missed out on Dame, they missed out on Brad Beal, Like, they got to get one of these guys. That team desperately needs backcourt shot creation. Donovan Mitchell's an obvious kind of like fit there. Philly does have the advantage there, though, because they have more assets to give than Miami does. The Knicks are another team I look at. They lean so much on Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle to create everything. They don't have great options at the 2 spot. Like, they just benched Quentin Grimes. He was a below-average starter. They benched him for Dante DiVincenzo, but Dante DiVincenzo's better as a backup guard, too. So, like, you're in a weird spot there. RJ Barrett is having the most efficient scoring season of his career and kind of fits more of like a complementary piece next to Darius Garland. So that'd be an interesting kind of salary filler piece. And the Knicks have plenty of draft compensation that they can offer. So like that's a team that I'd keep an eye on. Toronto, simple case of they have too many forwards and not enough guards. And a couple guys like an OG Anunoby would be super interesting in Cleveland, right? Like a Pascal Siakam would be super interesting in Cleveland. But Toronto desperately needs guards because like Dennis Schroeder and Gary Trent Jr. are good, but they're not. They're compared to the other serious teams in the league. That's not a very good backcourt. So like you're looking at an option there. Chicago already apparently has made calls trying to trade for Darius Garland. So like why not try for Donovan Mitchell if that was the case? Minnesota is another interesting team I was thinking of. They're 18th in offense this year, and they have legit title aspirations. And like the one weak spot in that lineup that you look at is Mike Conley, just given his age and athleticism, right? The Pelicans, if they wanted to pivot off of Zion Williamson, that'd be an interesting option. And then lastly, like I said in the last segment, the Golden State Warriors, it's worth a phone call. It's worth a phone call. You'd be like, hey, Jonathan Kuminga would be perfect next to Evan Mobley. How does that sound to you guys? You know, Chris Paul just can help mentor Darius Garland, you know, and then we can at least give Steph a bona fide number 2 next to him. You know, and like if you have Donovan Mitchell and Steph Curry, you have the ability to play bigger on the front line because of all the pull-up shooting you have in that lineup. So again, like it's too early to say for sure if Donovan Mitchell will even, you know, is even not wanting to re-sign or if Cleveland would be even willing to deal him. But I think some signs are pointing in that direction. So I thought it was kind of doing a brief deep dive into it.